Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jack. Welcome to 2017. Before we get to our golf project, let's talk turbos real quick. This is an eBay turbo. Lots of people will say, well, they will go and shake the shaft and say, oh, they sold me a junk turbo. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. When you buy a turbo, fill the oil holes with oil. I prefer to use 20W50. The oil will go into the seals and take up the clearances. If you put this turbo on a car without oil in it and you start it, the steel seals in this will actually eat the housing, and it will start eating the aluminium housing in the front, the back plate of the compressor. Your turbo will not last long like that. This is an expensive turbo. It's been lying for about a year and a half in the cupboard. If I take this shaft now, I can move the shaft because there's no oil in it. Doesn't mean it's a junk turbo. This is a very expensive turbo here. It's a Quadmaster. It's a well-known brand. It's a proper turbo. This is eBay turbo, but it's oiled and you can't move the shaft. Alright, what we have next, people will go buy something like this. This usually comes off like a Isuzu 4JA1, JB1 bakkie. People will call this a turbo. In the diesel world, we don't call this a turbo, we call it a compensator. It compensates for power or torque loss. When you have this engine on a dyno without the compensator, the RPM will go up and it will plateau for a long time before the RPM will climb again. That's where this comes in. It helps the engine to get a more reactive curve, so you get the power where the loss is. That is what this is for. This is not to produce 15 psi boost. It will never handle it. The shaft is too weak. Alright. Our next point is dump valves. This is a part a lot of people skip. This dump valve is inefficient for this turbo. It's just too small. Even if you look here, you can see it's got a fairly sized hole here. This is one I made long ago. You can strip this thing, change the spring inside, stiffer. You can make it weaker, however you want it. So when you close the accelerator, this piston will move up and it will release the air in the pipe. If you use even a proper turbo like that, without sufficient flow, the turbo won't last. I don't care what anybody else says. I worked in a testing facility when I was younger for quite some time. I was working in engine development on petrol engines and in the mining industry. In the mining industry, you don't have time for downtime. That's where proper turbos come in. Is it really worth the money? Yes, it is. The problem is if you take this turbo out of its design spec, meaning that you're gonna run double the pressures, you have to compensate for that. Even on a petrol engine, you can't run 30 psi with a standard fuel rate of a normal aspirated car. It will never work. I don't care what anybody says. Some people say, oh, I get so many mileage. It's bull crap. It doesn't work. That's why you have to fine tune your dump valve. You need different springs. You have to spend the time on that thing to get your engine working right. Like on this Golf engine, we change camshafts, we change the crank, change the ball size. We're gonna have to fine tune all of that components to work with our Dictator management system. I use Dictator. It's a very good system. It's not overly expensive and I never have trouble with them. I can even tune it while I'm driving. Alright, now let's look at our board here real quick. Now this is our petrol engine. We have our turbo, boost is coming in, we have a butterfly, your throttle body, we have our dump valve, we have our engine valve. If you run this thing at, let's say from 5 anywhere up PSI, and you shut the throttle, what happens to the air? It's trying to come out by the compressor housing. It will actually stop the turbo or bend the blades backwards, break the shaft. It will spark in the exhaust housing. You can't see it by eye, but it happens. Turbo goes out of balancing and it breaks. So that's why tuning the dump valve is also one of the very important things in building a turbo car. I believe in spending the time on it, otherwise it's a waste of time. Now people say, yeah, but a diesel engine. Well, let's look at how a diesel engine works. You have your turbo coming in, here's your manifold, got your valve, diesel pump, injector. This is a governor back in the diesel pump. 4-cylinder, you'll have 4 similar units like this, pump units. It's got a slot in here that feeds diesel. Now your accelerator is on the diesel pump. When you have this motor running, say 1200 RPM, and you take your foot off the accelerator, whether it be TLB, whatever, this governor, this shaft just doesn't shut. The governor, it's got a determined rate, it's adjusted, that slows this thing to feed diesel so you don't lose a piston. That's why on a diesel engine it doesn't matter to have a dump valve, because the engine still consumes this boost, because you have 4 pistons, 6 pistons, 8 pistons, and it's an open unit. The only thing that stops the boost is the valve. That's why it doesn't matter. You have 6 pistons, some valves will be open, some will be closed, the engine is running, it consumes that boost. So, okay, enough of that. Let's get back to our gold project. I've seen on forums people say they buy expensive Conrads and they say, oh, the engine broke, this and that. They don't take time to look at everything in the block. In this particular block, right there inside there, there's a step up, the extra casting. What I did is I took some window putty or children's clay, I put it on a corner right by the sleeve, and on that step up I turned the engine and I saw this corner of the Conrad here is there's just not enough space. It's gonna touch. Doesn't matter if the engine turns freely and it's not touching. You have to create enough space for this Conrad, if it throws a bearing, that it doesn't touch the block. Time. Take your time when you're building an engine. I've got in this engine, just in this block, I've got 35 hours. I took my time to check the balancing on the Conrads. What I did is with the bolts, I don't have a stretch gauge, so I measured all the bolts, see what the size is. I machined a little bit off so I get them all 50 millimeters. So when I put the mic on this bolt after I torqued it, then I can mic the bolt. Straightforward and simple. Get all the bolts the same, you know your specifications is right. This is how it looks now. Let's get the piston TDC. So it's very, very easy. Let's see if we can. There's our valve reliefs. Block is machined. I checked the hole and I did the ring gaps. I've got a long list. I think it's about 35. I've stripped this engine 4 times after I assembled it. to make sure everything is right. I didn't torque the Conrads 4 times full. I torqued it the last time full. Then I put plastic gauge on the big end bearings. Make sure my clearances is right. Alright. So let's look at what we're going to talk to today. We're going to need to get this guy done as soon as possible. I need the space. I've got work coming in. The customer is also in a hurry for this. I don't care if he's in a hurry. He's gonna wait till I'm done. I'm doing the same work for you as what I'm doing for myself. There's no use for me taking a shortcut. It's not the way I work. It's not the way I was taught how to work. Our channels, Clickspring, Chris, this guy is an amazing guy. I see the clock he made. I'm sure you've seen these people on YouTube. Welding Tips and Tricks, Jody. Fab Forums, Kyle. This old Tony. Now, let's look. Number 46, Valentino Rossi, a guy like Guy Martin, Mika Häkkinen. What do we have in common with guys like this? A normal guy like Jason, Keith, Stefan, Abom, Barry, Chris and all others. What do we have in common with these people? I mean, this people is well known. It's simple. They've got passion. Why do something if you don't have the passion? I think it's a total waste of time. Passion and skill. I mean, we aspire to be a good rider like Graham Jarvis. Even though we fail, we get up, we do it again. Crash, we get up, we do it again. Some of us don't like it. A guy like me, I don't mind. Crash 10 times a day, I'll get up 10 times a day. Alright. This also brings me to another question. I know your family is important to you. But what else as a person is important to you? To me, it's my belief in God. There's nothing more important than that to me. Second is karma. I'm a very big believer in karma. Very, very important. So that is part of who I am. And I believe in doing a good job. Alright, now let's get to this broken engines. You'll see this engine in a previous video with a crack in it. I was wondering why this happens. Simple. Terrible mechanics. They'll strip the engine, throw the stuff on the ground, just throw the bolts everywhere. When it comes time to assemble this engine, they'll just put stuff on. They won't check for bolts and stuff and manifolds. Look at this. This is from one customer. This is from another customer. If you don't care, don't do it. Rather let someone do it that wants to do it. Alright. So our next episode is going to be the installation of the block. There is our YZ. We had an epic time. Came back with a flat tire. We're also going to do videos on two-stroke bikes. Which bike is right for you? Two-stroke versus four-stroke, two-stroke versus two-stroke. I'm thinking that's going to be an interesting video. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Enjoy 2017.